Well, hello, Lake County Rowing adult members. This is going to be my first attempt at doing what I'll call a video newsletter that I'll try to do weekly. It's a different way of doing this for a couple of reasons. I'd like to try to limit some of the emails that many of you are getting and can be hard to track, as well as give you a way to listen to this maybe while you're driving or doing various odd things, so you don't have to spend time looking at a phone or a computer in order for this. So the video really is not as important as the words that I'm going to try to communicate here. If anybody can think of better ways to do this, I'd love your emails, thoughts, phone calls, texts, or whatever, is how we can streamline this, make it better, suggestions. But I'm going to try to do this once a week. I'm not sure it'll always happen on Wednesday. Maybe we can come up with a fun alliterative name, but basically it's a newsletter to try to cover topics. And if I miss something, I miss a name, I get something in error, please text me just as quick as possible so that I can either send out a very quick video follow-up to this to make sure things are changed, or I can put it into my next week's newsletter. So hope this works out well. If we get good feedback with this and people like it, we'll continue with it. But maybe this will help. And I'm going to try to put more of this stuff onto the board, the big whiteboard that's in the master's corner, as well as put items on the other new board that we can stick things up there that I'll be covering here in just a second. So really none of this has any huge particular order as to how I'm going to go through it. They're all pretty important. Maybe as I go along, these will be ranked a little bit. So, and some of these may not apply to everybody depending on the group that you're in: recreational, advanced, competitive, you come at night, you come in early in the morning. Just kind of bear with me if it doesn't fall on you too much, but please try to have it running and listen to the end if possible. First of all, I'd like to do a couple of shout outs. The boathouse. If you've been there in the last 2 weeks, you can see that there's been a huge change in the boathouse. It started with soliciting the assistance of the youth program, who did some things in the boathouse, and then the last 2 weekends, a pretty significant amount of work was done by adult members, and that has we want to have the boathouse. Obviously, everybody likes a clean house, just like at home. I think it's a better environment for our members. I think it helps a lot in recruiting new members when they see a well-maintained boathouse. I think it shows us as good stewards of the city's trust in us. We do pay a rent to be there. It's a city-owned building. However, that rent is stupidly inexpensive. So we want to show our appreciation for that as well. And we'll also, something we can show off to teams that we're trying to recruit here, who will come, hopefully, as this pandemic wanes, who will be coming here to row with us in the future. And so we want to show off the great facility that we have. Special shouts out to people who push the room, carry a big, heavy things, dangerous things, whatever you want to call it, to make this happen. So Peter, thank you, Peter. Michelle Cantrell and her husband. Michelle, you need to tell me his name. I've met him before. I'm sorry. Vanya, Rich, Michelle Lyons. I'll often just refer to you as Lyons. For those of you who don't know her, we just call her Lyons. And Carrie, and I believe is her youngest daughter. I even saw her pushing a broom as well. So, and this was spearheaded up quite a bit by Laura and Dana. Thank you so much for you guys for doing this. It's just makes the whole culture a whole lot better when our clean boathouse. So, and to follow up that, we had a board, another additional board besides the whiteboard that's there. It's set up in the master's corner where we can put information there. Any suggestions you have of what could go there, I'd like to do things like board meeting minutes and leadership meeting minutes, and we could put upcoming birthdays. We could put maybe special websites. We could put photos. We could put a lot of stuff there, and I think it's going to morph into something where you can get more information there at the boathouse. So thank you again, Rich and Randy, for working so hard to make that happen. It looks awesome. Let's see, the advanced group, changing practice during the weekdays from Tuesdays and Thursdays to Mondays and Wednesdays. I'd like to say thank you guys for considering this. We're going to put this into a trial period and let it run for a while and see how it works out. The time will still be the same, dark 30, 5:20 a.m., but it will be that'll be on Mondays and Wednesdays instead of Tuesdays and Thursdays. I appreciate everyone coming together to chat with Laura and myself and anybody else who's got concerns about it. And I know Mondays aren't great, but I think given what we've got coming up with some racing and some scrimmaging, let's test it out for this period and see how it goes. Let's see. A special housekeeping thing just for this Saturday is the early morning group that would get out there at 6:15. We'll be sliding it, unfortunately, a whole half an hour earlier to 5:45 a.m. as we will have our Learn to Row, which we're trying to roll out about every 2 months, will be Saturday at 7:30 a.m. And so we want to get the same amount of practice in with that group. That being said, with all of our groups, if you're not sure or haven't heard about Learn to Row, as much as it is introducing people to the sport of rowing and doing some actual technical understanding of rowing, it's all about building team. It's about building culture. It's about building relationships. And the more of the members that I have there, you guys, the better it's going to be, because they're going to be able to see other people who have stories about how they didn't do it or didn't know how to do it, and now they've learned how to row. They're getting better at it. They're having fun. They're laughing with other people, having a good time. And so you guys are crucial to the story of Lake County Rowing Association and trying to build this. So if you haven't had a chance to reach out to me, put your name on the list for Learn to Row, which is going to be tonight, starting tonight, Wednesday at 6:15, Saturday and Sunday morning at 7:30 a.m., and Monday, next Wednesday and Monday and Wednesday night at 6:15. It'll last for 5 days. Please let me know. I could really use your help. You have no idea what it means to people when they get a chance to check it out and know that there's members who are there wanting to see them join the club. Speaking of additional practices, this was something that occurred when I first came to the club, and it's a practice that would take place not in the dark, during the week, about the time the sun's coming up. We're going to call it 7:15, and I'm going to call it the Rich Group. So everybody knows Rich and all the work that he's done in the boathouse. But he's a pretty darn good sculler as well. And he's been a captain for uncoached crew practices, meaning groups that would go out without a coach and that would have a designated captain. Now, that's something that I have to be responsible for in clearing, and I've cleared that with Rich as he's done in the past. And so anybody that might have interest in rowing, sometime in the morning after the sun has come up during the week. Right now it's Tuesdays and Thursday mornings. It'll be sculling only, primarily in the quad, may go out in the doubles or singles, but that's that group. And if we go out into doubles and singles, I'll also have to coordinate with Rich about who's there and who's allowed to go out, again, uncoached. So there's a little bit of coordination with that, but if you would like to participate in something like that, please let me and Rich know, or you can let me know and I can forward this on with Rich and we'll work through it. Um, so let's see, housekeeping for those who are racing and want a racing uniform. I think I've sent this out before, but again, I know the emails they can get long and you can get lost in them, is Patty Burke. So if you've got a question about uniforms for upcoming scrimmages and races, please let her know. If you have indicated to me that you want to race, and it doesn't even have to be only about right now, like in perpetuity, you're like, yep, I think I'm that type of person. I want to go pick up team points to shoot towards the Florida Masters Series Team Point State Championship. Then make sure you get with me, get with Patty. I can forward you on to Patty. She can answer questions. I know she's setting up an electronic store with a vendor where we'll be able to input this information about sizing and color, not colors, but designs and all that kind of stuff. Don't get me involved in fashion. I pretty much asked my family to help dress me. So let's see. Oh, I got it cleared for the people who participated in Learn to Row classes since I have come on board in November of 2019 to be able to get a shirt. We used to charge $119 for the sessions. We're charging $125 for the sessions. If you could submit that difference, I did send an email. If you had already submitted to me your shirt size, please look for that email. But if you could take an envelope, put a check, cash $6, and your name in there, and put on there LTR Learn to Row shirt. That way the bookkeeper knows what that money is designated for. And the club is covering the difference on that shirt because it is a little bit more expensive than $6. And for those who took it in the classes in 2020, your shirt will look different than those who are getting it right now, as it'll say on the front, Learn to Row 2020. And I think this only holds true for two people, Becky and Dana. You will have the special shirt of a Learn to Row 2019. You'll be the old timers. So look for that email. If you didn't see it, again, call or text me or email me if you have any questions. We talked a little bit about paid coxswains. So something I'm going to start doing in May is tracking our coxswain usage, meaning members who serve as a coxswain for a training session. Unless we can get a coxswain or coxswains to come to our sessions, that's what we're going to have to do. However, it's pretty challenging to find adult members who want to come out and only be coxswains and who would want to join as members and do something like that and not row. So we either got to find people like that who, have a personality for it like that, willing to be a member, and if we don't, then sometimes it's young people who have experience in that, and then they have to be paid. So that's something I'd like to kind of kick around with everybody about the idea of how can we fund this, maybe through a separate private fund to pay coxswains. So something to consider. And like I said, in May, I'm going to start tracking it so there's a fair and equitable usage of people as coxswains. And it's actually not a bad thing to learn, to see what goes into being a coxswain. And you learn a lot about boat feel, you look a lot about the lake itself, and understanding the mechanics of the rowing stroke from a different perspective. So not in all a bad thing, but just know that as we grow, this is another one of those hurdles we got to get through. The club has traditionally had a position of a membership director. That's somebody who works similar to what they have on the youth side, which is a parent who takes a volunteer position as a membership director. And they coordinate a ton of stuff and become kind of a liaison between members and the leadership / board and the coach. So they kind of sit in the middle, and there's a lot of tasks there. I'm currently working on having that position filled, as we had somebody who was doing it but had to step away. We're working on that right now. I think that'll be a great thing. And also, even though it's not official, I've asked our own Vanya to step in as kind of a social membership director. And I'm going to hit this on the events part coming up here, but she's working on a variety of things. She's kind of slammed right now as she's works in accounting, so the month of April is pretty tough for her with tax season. That being said, trying to get us to maybe like a quarterly social event, so that we can start having more, time building relationships. Those of you who have young kids, something that you could bring your young kids to, but something adults could go to well, adult beverages, things like that. So that's I'm going to hit that in a second, but she's also going to be look at ways that we can celebrate every month, birthdays, as well as member reach out whenever our members have some sort of crisis, sickness, maybe a loss of a loved one, things like that. So we're trying to beef that up. Again, nice issues to have as we continue to grow and expand. And let's see. Sorry, I've got a big list here in front of me. All right, so let's talk about events. So this is the list that I have so far. So first of all, May the 15th, that's Saturday, May the 15th, Vanya's working on trying to do an event at Southern Farms. It's a Blueberry Grove Ranch, whatever you call it. They've got kids rides, they've got food, they've got alcohol. They've got a lot of fun things for a variety of people there, blueberry picking and so on. We're looking at that for May the 15th. If you're the type of person who likes to do these types of events, helps to organize them, please reach out to me and Vanya, and I'm gonna put some of this contact information in the boathouse, and as I'm sure she would love to have your help. And again, it's a great way it'll be outside. I think that's a pretty safe environment, and it's a good way for us to get together and meet up with each other, which I think is huge right now. Getting to know the members maybe who come at different times and you've never met them before. May the 22nd, Saturday, we have our scrimmage planned with for the people who want to race, with Edgewater High School's Masters or Adult Program and the Orlando Rowing Club. They're on Lake Fairview. So what I offered to them was a deal, which was we would come there first to them and row on their lake since they're both over there. And I'm helping to put together, we're working on sweep and sculling events, novice events, experience events, all kinds that at least get everybody a row, possibly two. It's not in a big official event. A scrimmage means coaches are out there kind of lining things up. We don't always have a lot of buoys. We don't have what I want to say, we don't have a finish line camera that, if it's close, we'll probably call it a tie. But the idea being we get some scrimmaging. It doesn't need to be in uniforms yet. And it's a good chance to just, if you've never raced before, it's a good chance to kind of go through that experience as we get ready for racing. So then we're looking at a reciprocal where they will come back and right now, I'm 90% sure it will be June the 26th at our place. And what that means is that we're submitting right now an application to the city in order to get our course put in. We don't really have to for scrimmage, but I really would like to show off our course. We have a beautiful buoyed course. I think people would love that. Put it on the South Shore. Our course runs from approximately Waterfront Park to the 8th Street Pier, which is great viewing for friends of yours, guests who want to come out and see, support, everybody. And our guests who would come in row, that's a great venue for them as well. So would love to have everybody come out for that. More info on that as we go along, but put that on your calendar for now for June 26th, a Saturday, June the 26th. Then we have our only sprint race, meaning a 1,000-meter masters race of the season. That is an official race over in Daytona at the Halifax Regatta on July the 25th. I believe that's a Sunday. And the youth, I think, may be going to that as well. I'm not 100% sure, but I think they are. And they'll be there on that Saturday, and then we would race there on Sunday. Typically, this is the culmination of a season-long Florida Sprints League Team Points Championship. Well, all those other races didn't take place. So this is a one and done, winner take all, one regatta, most points wins the Florida Team Points Championship. So our goal for this is participation with excellence. I want to have as many of our fastest boats race and as many of our members who want to race go down the course, giving their full measure, their best effort in order to try to pick up as many points, men, women, novice, experienced, sculling, sweep, who, and even maybe possibly mixed boats of men and women, both in sculling and sweep, who can pick up the greatest amount of points for our team. That is the number one goal for the racing side of it. So, so that's July the 25th. A couple other things. I'd love to maybe somewhere in there in the summer, we start picking up maybe a monthly get together at Sun Creek for beers. As you know, Sun Creek has really embraced us. Their owner, Bill Downs, actually came to one of our Learn to Rows. I think being a brewer took up more time than he could handle with regards to continuing to row, but we have an oar there. We're part of the mural on the wall. They have their Champions Lager labeling that we're on the boathouse, and our boat, a 4, is there on the can. So that's kind of a home base. I'd love to start doing more stuff there. Again, reach out to Vanya, talk to each other about putting something together, as well as maybe we could do something around Labor Day for another quarterly get together as a group, as a rowing family. And then I've got a reach out to Mark Wilson over at the All-American Rowing Camp to see about possibly doing a sculling camp for us in September. He'd bring over some equipment and mix in with ours, and their vast knowledge with their coaching staff would be there for sculling instruction. They have a whole curriculum, very knowledgeable. We've got a lot of members in our club who have gone to that camp, and I highly recommend it, including myself. I really enjoy it. So those are our events. Again, I'm going to put these up on the board inside the boathouse, and then finally, something that will probably have more information coming to you is I want you to consider a concept that I call the stewardship program. We're getting larger, and that's a really nice problem to have. Part of that getting larger is we are a member-run club. We're not paying staff members to do all of these duties except for the coaching side of it. So there's so many things that go behind the scenes to keep the club operational and to allow it to grow. And that's all run by members. If you've been part of such a volunteer organization, in a volunteer organization, it can become kind of stressful when you have a situation where you've got about 10% of the people doing 90% of the work. And it's not sustainable. The challenges become that those people potentially get burned out, and they really, rowing or whatever they join that group for starts to become a burden to them. And we don't want that to happen. They can't keep up with everything, not because of their ability, but because of capacity. And then people who are counting on them start to become disaffected, and there's grumbling that takes place, frankly, because those people can't keep up. And then that grumbling turns into kind of an unhealthy boathouse, if you will, where things aren't getting done. People want it to get done. There's poor communication, but people are doing their best. And I'm a big believer that at the end of the day, people don't fail people, systems do. So this is a systems thing. And ultimately, while I believe in volunteerism, I often think that if it's volunteerism only in a club like this, there will come a point where we can't keep up with the work that needs to be done, and that will affect growth and could actually impact retention of people. So the proposal that I've put forth before the board and the leadership committee is this concept called the stewardship program, which is basically your membership would be a requirement to have a certain amount of volunteer hours over some interval. So let's say every 6 months or a year, there's a certain amount of hours, and there's an administration of this process. And these would cover all kinds of things, like from regattas, safety, social, merchandise, equipment, boathouse, could be social media, advertising, marketing, all these different things that are out there that really need to be done to grow and to thrive, to bring maybe teams here, to bring regattas here. We have, frankly, we have agreements and obligations with the city and the county with regards to our operations, and those have to be fulfilled, and part of those are bringing teams and regattas to train here, which fulfills heads and beds as part of the local tourism. So we need as many hands on deck as possible. We're all in the same boat together, right? We need to all be pulling in the same direction. I'll give you a lot of cheesy cliches, but I think you know what I mean. So if you've got some ideas on this in ways that, especially if you knew what those list of tasks were and ways that you could better plug in your strengths into this, again, not as volunteerism, but as a requirement of membership, that you could plug into your strengths and use your skill set to help continue to expand the program. This would be huge. So coming down the road, we hope to have information for you about what those tasks and committees and structures look like. But please consider this concept and let me know what your thoughts are on this. And feel free to let club leaders know about it as well, so that they have an idea about the enthusiasm of this going forward. So I think I have covered everything that I want to today. This is at 27 minutes. So I know it's kind of long. Maybe this will thin out a little bit more as we go along. I hope you all have a great day, and please give me some feedback if you like this format instead of lengthy emails. Alrighty, thank you very much. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.